Good morning. Ooh, off. I had some monitoring turn on that just went a little nuts. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody? JTW here. Happy Halloween. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's get started. Let me just get one thing squared away over on the Discord. I need to get my screen sharing going. Let me make sure I've checked all my boxes because I seem to have been struggling with that lately, as far as getting screen sharing going everywhere, getting the actual stream started, audio going. I think everything's good. I think we're ready to go. Yeah, looks solid. All right. So, with that being said, hope everybody is doing well this morning. Like I said, happy Halloween. Let's see if we can't spend this morning filling our trade plans up with a bunch of treats and very little tricks. We're going to talk about ES futures as we always do. Interesting double bottom potentially playing out here. We'll talk about in just a moment, but we'll review ES futures. And then we'll go through our trade plan recaps. We've got several that we need to go back over and review and do some quick updating on. And then, of course, we will get to some new trade plans done live here on the stream with you all together as a team. Let's go. What's up, Unknown Reviews? Good morning to you. Let me get my chat opened over on Discord screen share. What's up, Navy Plum? Good morning to you as well. And what is up, Boyack? Good morning to you, my friend. All right, so let's talk about what we're seeing here on the S&P futures chart. Let me collapse that. That gives us a little bit more screen real estate as far as what I can share in this software. So what are we looking at here? We've got a pretty clear and interesting double bottom taking shape here off of this 5,800 level. We've talked about this a few times over the previous live streams, but here we are again testing it, finding support as we would expect that we might. I think both of these trend lines are pretty much invalidated at this point, so we'll get those off our chart. So yeah, really nice bounce taking shape here off of this 5,800 level. In fact, I would be shocked. Yeah, I think that we do have a... I need to start updating these more. I don't always draw them out because I could just kind of see them, but I also tend to forget sometimes that maybe not everybody sees these things unless I put it on the chart. Doing here, let's go. Okay, so yeah, we also did establish a demand zone back here that we are bouncing out of currently. Neptune key buying pressure there on the 4-hour chart, 200 SMA, 333, both still trending to the upside, big picture. So not surprised that we're finding support here. Like I said, this could be an interesting double bottom that could take us back up for a test of, I would imagine, at the very least, somewhere in this 58.36 to 58.44 range, but I wouldn't be surprised if it took us as high as 58.70. If we break below 5,800, though, I think that that'll be a pretty bearish sign and a good indication that we might see some directional continuation to the downside if and when we do break below 5,800. But so far, like I said, looking like a pretty clean double bottom. Definitely some turbulence here on the hourly chart. That will probably start to fade a little bit if it can break over 58.2850. But again, we'll keep an eye on all this. As long as 5,800 is holding, I expect this to look like more of a double bottom pattern and something that is going to push higher and test some of these higher levels. And again, my personal targets, I think, would be 58.44 and 58.70 next targets off this double bottom bounce, assuming that 5,800 holds. So with that out of the way, let's go through some of our member selected trade plans that we did over the weekend. AMD, I mentioned this Tuesday as we went into the close, and AMD was getting ready to report earnings. We had hit PT2 at that point, and we were making a strong push for PT3 going into close. We ran right up, just slightly above it, actually going into close, and then we got the earnings report rejection that took us all the way down below PT2 for puts. We are now back testing that and looking to potentially push lower. So again, make sure that you are taking profits if you're going into an earnings report on these trade plans. Don't swing through an ER just because things are continuing in your direction. That earnings report can totally take any technical analysis and turn it upside down, which is exactly what we're seeing here with AMD. So this one's played out upside and downside. Downside, possibly there could have been an entry. It's still, I think, I personally wouldn't have pursued it. I was in a golf tournament yesterday, so I wasn't looking at the charts anyway, but looking at this in hindsight, I don't think I would have gone after that, just because I would personally want to be catching that back test right there, which that was pre-market. By the time the market opened, it was just shooting too fast to the downside. So I'm not sure how actionable the downside was on this, unless you just happened to, you know, take puts despite the momentum going into that earnings report. But that is not how we set these trade plans up or what we use them for anyway. So what's up, unknown reviews? Yeah, QQQ and McDonald's. Sure, we could take a look at both of those, fellas. Thanks for chiming in. Microsoft, this one also just had earnings, broke through our call entry. Let's go to a slightly smaller time frame here. Broke through the call entry level here on Tuesday, hit all of our price targets and then some by the time yesterday rolled around, and then had earnings after hours, is dumped down below all of our downside price targets. Trying to reclaim this weekly level here at 417.43. Kind of an interesting sell-off with decent numbers, but again, that could have a lot to do with what was said in the conference call on their earnings report based on what their guidance looked like. Cut the Microsoft price target to 495 and raise, so there's conflict among street analysts as far as should we be upgrading or downgrading. Microsoft just got burned on Uber this morning. Yikes. Well, we can take a look at Uber if you want to take a look at it. Maybe we've got some ideas on how to help either A, rectify your existing position, or B, figure out how to maybe make that money back. But it doesn't need to be done on Uber either, right? If you like, one thing that I think could be a very bad habit to get into is revenge trading. You know, if you take a hit on a particular ticker or trade plan or whatever the case might be, you can make that money back, right? Obviously that's the goal, and to do that as soon as possible, but you don't have to do it on the same ticker, right? And a lot of times I think that can really negatively, obviously, impact your decision making when it comes to executing that recovery trade plan. Is, you know, kind of sticking to that, this, you know, in this particular example, Uber really burned me. Well, I'm going to get Uber back and make money on the next trade to make that money back and then some. You know, again, maybe there is a good setup to do it on the same ticker, but don't get locked into that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, just quick little bit of, I don't know, general trading advice, wisdom, quote unquote, if you want to call it that. Hey Kieran, yeah, we can take a look at, probably at the very least, at spot. What's up, Deepak? Good morning to you. All right, so moving on, PayPal was also on. Actually, we did this one Tuesday. I'm guessing this was an unknown reviews trade plan with the earnings report coming up right there. Never broke out to the upside from our plan that we did. It was actually, why does this look weird to me? That's Tuesday, but the earnings report was Tuesday pre-market, so that had already happened. But my trade plan levels had us below that. Were we talking about some kind of a sell the rip entry? Why am I not? This doesn't make sense. All right, well, if somebody wants me to take a further look at PayPal, I'll do it, but I'm not really sure why my chart looks like that. Do I have the wrong layout? No, I don't know. That looks weird. So I'm going to move on with time being of the essence. All right. MicroStrategy was also one of our Tuesday trade plans that we did. This one was testing all-time highs there at 270.03. We were looking to go short on it below 260. Also had earnings yesterday after hour. Holy smokes. Huge misses there, especially on the earnings. That was massive. So MicroStrategy, let's again go to a slightly smaller time frame. So we did this plan here Tuesday. Slide this over so it looks a little bit more accurate. There we go. Ultimately broke to the downside, tested PT1, gave us a back test of the stop loss average down, and then continued to push lower from there. Made it down to PT2, tried to bounce off that 333 SMA there. Nice attempt at a bounce, but then that earnings report, big miss, had it moving back to the downside and trying to climb out of the gutter there. But so far, all downside targets hit. Nothing's happened as far as the upside goes, so good to go there on MicroStrategy. And then TLT, this one was for DPAC, if I remember correctly. I almost missed it, so again, my apologies for that. This one was, yeah, very kind of volatile, up and down, kind of looking like a head and shoulders pattern there, but it was, the neckline was right there, and that neckline has held so far. Yeah, PT1 plus came back for a back test of the 200 SMA, seems to be bouncing off that and holding above the call entry here. A little bit of turbulence there from a Neptune perspective, but overall this one is holding to the bullish side, I would say, despite that little bit of a momentum shift right there. So, all right, let's get to some of these new trade plans this morning for you folks. Unknown Reviews wants to take a look at QQQ. They don't have earnings, so this is out of the box for Unknown Reviews. All right, let's see. Got some old trade plan levels and whatnot here on QQQ. Let's clean this chart up real quick. Collapse, there we go. All right. So what are we looking at here on the Qs? My upside gap just filled for the most part. Got some support and resistance right about here. That's kind of an interesting level. Question is, where does upside become? I think we could. It's probably a bit aggressive, but it just is what it is. I mean, that's what the chart looks like to me. Yeah, there is something right in there. I think that would be a good first price target. Right there at 496.21. It's interesting, a lot of resistance there. Yeah, I do see this flip right here though. And with that kind of strong resistance that we saw previously, I think 498.53 would be a reasonable second target. Third target, I think that's probably, no, it's, yeah, we got, not gonna make it easy, are you? QQQ. Let's see, let's go back a little further. I'm trying to find if there's a established support and resistance level around this 501 level. Fortunately, come on, where's that price action at? Let's go to a higher time frame. That'll get us there a little quicker. Why do I have a 503.47 level on here then? That's weird. Oh, it's from right there. Okay, never mind. I went back too far. All right, so what are we looking at? This is July 11th. Okay, July 11th. Remember that. All right. Oh yeah, that's that same spot I was looking at. Let's see if there could be something that's kind of developed or developing right around this 501.22. We're getting some candles that are pushing just a little bit above, but it does really seem to struggle right there. I did see a potential case for this to be slightly higher, so let's go back to July 11th. Yeah, catches that support bounce pretty cleanly. All right, we'll take a shot at it. It's minimal price action, price data up here, but that's, just what we've got to work with. So we'll go with that 501.35. Third price target to the upside, stop loss average down. Yeah, right here at 491.56. Downside targets or entry. Let's start with first things first. Yeah, I was already eyeballing this 489.46 level. That gives us a first target down here, 486.93. You know what? I think I'm gonna take that back. I think we could be looking at a target. Where is this level? It's right, yeah, right about here. I might have this level just a tad bit low. I'm gonna switch this up. We're gonna go a little bit further on this first price target. Sorry, the more I looked at it, the more I could see that there's more room to make that move down, which then gives us a PT2 right here at 43.49 and a PT3 here at 481.28. So this is what our QQQ trade plans are going to look like. And this, I wouldn't be surprised. Definitely buy time on these. No, we haven't taken a look at Uber yet. Trader Boy. All right, so this is what the QQQ trade plans are going to look like. Expand this so it's a little bit easier for y'all to see when you look at the chart image. All right, here we go. Again, wouldn't be surprised to see one of these plans start hitting. This would definitely be, buy time on your contracts. Be prepared to potentially swing. Obviously, set yourself up for free runners as quickly as you can, if you can. And then last but not least, let's go to the all right, so what are we looking for here on the triple Qs? We are looking for a break over 493.77. That should give us targets at 496.21, 498.53, and 501.35, with a stop loss average down here at 491.56. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 489.46. That should give us targets at 486.24, 483.49, and 481.28, with a shared stop loss average down with the upside trade plan there at 491.56. Those are your triple Q trade plans. Go get them. All right. We also had, let's see, let me get through my good morning. Spot and McDonald's, and then we'll try to take a look at Uber for Trader Boy. Huh. I swear I've done a trade plan. Yeah. Probably just like, wow. Spotify's just been Mooning. Jeez Louise, how have I missed all that? I was gonna say, I feel like I've worked on some spot charts and trade plans in the past, but those seem like distant memories based on where my levels are. I don't know why I'm even cleaning up these lines. They're not going to be relevant, but I guess force of habit. All right, so let's get some support and resistance levels in place real quick. Hmm. I think there's a level weekly right here. Do. And definitely a level somewhere. Yeah, right about there. Yeah, looks good. And that's all we're gonna get, I'm guessing, on the weekly. Interesting multi-resistance rejection there, but no support here on the weekly. That could be a good daily level, though. Let's get one more right here. All right. Let's check out. Actually, on this one, we're just going to go to the daily chart. Yep. Just barely, but there it is. Right there. Of course, unknown reviews. Happy to help. Yeah, spot is just in full on beast mode. Something interesting there, but I don't think it's a daily level. So I'll take a look at that. Let's go back here a little bit. Yeah, there's a level here. Okay. Let's fast forward or accelerate this process now. I just wanted to get those, big picture levels, kind of get some perspective there. When in doubt, zoom out, right? This will be the all-time high. We're definitely going to need to do some trend-based fib extensions. Question is, where does that trend really start? Probably right about there. Let's go ahead and see what that shows us, actually. Huh. Kind of exactly what I expected, actually. Excuse me. So I definitely think we've got downside opportunity here. Upside opportunity, we obviously have to wait for this all-time high to break. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Could have a downside opportunity much sooner. And we could probably, let's see. Hang on. Let me take a look at this. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Where's that price action? There we go. Getting close. No? Where the hell? Okay, well, do we not have any more? Or did I pass it? No. Or did I? Sorry. Talking to myself a little bit. I swear we had some more tests up. No, I guess that is as close as we ever got. Okay, sorry. Little sidetrack there. Apologies. All right, so thought we had some more price action up in this range from further back, but it never got quite this high. All right. Man, I'm really torn on how to handle these stop loss levels. Full disclosure, but I think what we could do, let's take a shot at doing it like this. That makes this a first price target. That makes this a second price target. And third target. Could actually be a little bit lower, potentially. I think there's a possibility that it gets down like another dollar below this weekly level, but I feel like that's just being slightly greedy. So I'd be looking for that 369.23 third price target to the downside. Upside is where things get a little bit interesting. Let's get this back on real quick. 0.382. So really, this is all we have to work with on this upside trade plan. But the way I like to set these up is an expectation that we will not spend a whole lot of time caught up on the 50% fib extension. We'll go for that 61.8 sooner rather than later. So that would have our trade plan set up like this. And let's turn these indicators on. I mean, with this having pushed as hard as it has, I wouldn't expect that to really change my perspective that much. In fact, if anything, it gives us some confluences that agree with some of our price targets and levels where they're at. So perfect. That's the kind of thing I want to see. So here we go with our spot live stream plans. All right, so what are we looking for on Spotify? We're looking for a break above 397.26. That should give us targets at 402.21, 409.91, and 415.50, with a stop loss average down at 392.97. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 389.16. That should give us targets at 382.85, 376.59, and 369.23, with a stop loss average down, shared with the upside at 392.97. What's up, Strife? Good morning to you. Those are your Spotify live stream plans. Let's go. All right. So what was next? We had McDonald's, and then we'll circle back to Uber. Trader Boy. Is that like Skater Boy? The Avril Lavigne, right? That was Avril Lavigne. I don't know. I don't know who did that song. All right. SPY, please. Sion. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that at all. SPY, we will do the daily SPY plan that goes into the options watch list in our Xtrades Discord. If you aren't a member, please come check us out. Give us a shot. You won't be disappointed, I promise. We do have free trials, all that good stuff. All right, so McDonald's. This is another one I thought I had done some charting on at some point, but oh, fantastic. Well, then you will see in the options watch list this morning, typically right before, sometimes especially if it's a podcast or live stream day, and I get a little bit tied up on this live stream. Sometimes it might post like just shortly after market open, but I would say no more than like 2 to 3 minutes after market open. Anyway, within that, 5 minute, we'll call it, on either side of market open window in the options watch list, I post a very detailed and I think very accurate, I would say, and I think most would agree, plan for day trading SPY, whether it goes up or down. You'll be ready to execute. So please take a look at that when I post it. It is probably, I think it sits around like a 86 or something like that % win rate last time I looked at it. It's been a while since I've actually gone through and analyzed the hit rate on it, but I've got, I think at this point, probably getting close to 500 SPY plans documented and tracked. But when I did that calculation for the hit rate, as far as like, how many days would you come out profitable if you stuck to the plan and all that good stuff, I think it was around 86% or something like that. So yeah, please check that out. It is probably my greatest contribution to the trading community that I can make. All right. So Mickey D's. E. coli onions. Be careful. It's always the produce for some reason. Same thing with Chipotle. Whenever they have some kind of E. coli thing, I feel like it's typically their lettuce. This is TBD. Not a guaranteed level there. Same thing here. All-time high. We'll want to have an idea where that's sitting. That looks like a good daily level to me. We're probably going to need some levels down here. Yeah, probably sitting right about there. Yeah, maybe just a tad lower. Man, I'm really splitting hairs here, but I want these levels to be as accurate as possible. I think it's sitting right about there. All right. Pretty clear level right there. I don't think we're going to need anything down this low, but this level's kind of screaming out to be marked. Let me just check through this range right here real quick, and then we'll move on to the hourly and our actual trade planning. Yeah, so I'm sitting right there. Same thing there. Let's see, we got one right there too. Okay, so let's fast forward this process. Buy your Happy Meals, folks. What's up, Chris? Hopefully there's some treats in there, no tricks, right? Hopefully you don't get the E. coli trick in your bag. All right, so where do we want to go long on McDonald's, and where do we want to short McDonald's? Yeah, that's an unhappy meal right there when your quarter pounder gives you E. coli. All right, I think we've got a potential entry here over 295.72. First target there at 301.83. Second target, I'm going to say 305.94, and then 310.31. Stop loss average down. Yeah, I do think is sitting right here at 290.72. Downside, this is the one that's, as I'm looking at it, is a little iffy to me. There's something that well, Neptune was right there at that point in time, though. It does get us out of the way of that little bit of a dip buy right there. All right, I think we do need to set a level just slightly lower, so we've got better confirmation of more downside to come. That puts us there at 284.40. It gives us a first target. I might have this daily level. Nah, that's probably fine, but I think there is another little level sitting right about here that I'd want to go ahead and be out just a little bit before that daily level. There at 278.19. Below that, yeah, there's a gap there. I mean, the gap's filled, but gap levels can be a really nice little shortcut to finding support resistance levels. They tend to either establish new support and resistance levels or form at existing levels. So you see gaps on your chart, pay attention, especially if you're charting support and resistance. They can be helpful for that. All right, so this is what our all-in SPY puts. Dubstep trader. I don't know what I would be. I mean, the kind of music I listen to while I'm trading, probably more like lo-fi type stuff, or every once in a while like chill house, or what's that playlist? There's a really good playlist on Spotify I like a lot. I think it's like Ibiza something, I don't know, but you know, kind of that electronic vibey lo-fi background. Oh, somebody died from one of those E. coli events with McDonald's. I didn't hear that, or didn't catch that. I knew that there was one person who was like super sick. I guess that person wound up passing away. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I grew up on, going back to musical taste, I don't know why I'm getting into this, but for anybody that cares. And before we do that, it's live stream. Let me get this out. But yeah, I mean, grew up on definitely punk rock, hip hop, metal. You know, got more into kind of like classic rock for a little while. Still love 70s classic rock. Electronic, I mean, pretty much anything but commercial country, I can get into it. Commercial country, which my wife is into, I can't do it, man. All that shit sounds the same. Sorry for anybody who's a country music fan. Just not my personal taste. But you know, I'll go. I've been to some country concerts. They're a fun time. You will never hear me playing it in my car, though. It's not my thing. I could do, yeah, Led Zeppelin, definitely. And I can do bluegrass, right? Like real good, like creative. I think that there's some artistry to it. There's some personality to it, country, but all this, I don't even, can't even name some of these people like Jason Aldean and all this stuff. Again, no offense to any of those people. It's just not, I think it all sounds the same. That's my problem. Like every song sounds pretty much the same to me. So put that in the for what it's worth category. JTW's musical preferences, like anybody cares. Hootie, back in the day. Oh, you mean his country? Darius Rucker is a country artist. I haven't really listened to much of his. Yeah, Johnny Cash. Now that's, I wouldn't even call. Yeah. Johnny Cash was like the last, I would say, like pop country guy who I liked. But yeah, Johnny Cash, and he would probably qualify as pop country in his time. But yeah, Johnny Cash, one of the GOATs. Love Johnny Cash. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this McDonald's live stream plan, and then I need to take a quick look at Uber, the punk rock Trader Boys request. So what are we looking at here on McDonald's? Well, we're looking for a break above 295.72. That should give us targets at 301.83, 305.94, and 310.31 with a stop loss average down at 290.72. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 284.40. That should give us targets at 278.19, 273.05, and 266.96 with the stop loss average down. Man, that's just barely there. Should we have that a little bit lower? Sorry. Man, that's iffy. Could be either level. I'm gonna stick with it. Just be very careful is what I'll say on this downside plan. It's a little bit lame. When I say lame, like it's skewed not in our favor on the risk reward side of things based on where I've got this stop loss in PT1. So keep that in mind. I think they're the correct levels to play. But I would certainly be going very small to start with on the downside part of this plan. So to the downside, again, we're looking for a break below 284.40. Sorry, I just noticed that ratio, risk reward ratio, looked a little off. 284.40, below 284.40, we're looking for targets at 278.19, 273.05, and 266.96 with a shared stop loss average down with the upside trade plan there at 290.72. All right, let's take a look at Uber. Oh, Trader Boy, were you swinging options contracts through an earnings report? Did you do that? Like, was the goal to trade the earnings report? And what are the expirations on your contract? Let's start there before we get into my TLT. Yeah, TLT is pulling back into kind of the buy range after breaking to the upside. I think as long as it holds this 200 SMA 91.98 level, it looks good to me. There's still a little bit more room to potentially find support, but I'd really want to see it in that range for it to still be bullish, in my personal opinion. So anyway, let me know if that helps. Red Black. Sorry, I didn't invite you for the golf tournament yesterday. I must have gotten lost in the mail. Yeah, they had earnings report, and we've got Trader Boy was asking for me to do some input on it. But I was curious to know what the plan or what the goal was with this trade. If it was purchasing, I'm guessing it was a purchase of shorter dated, shorter expiration options contracts specifically to trade the earnings report. So let me know if I'm correct about that. Yep. Okay. Well, that is a recipe for a blown account. So I would say, generally speaking, do not swing options through earnings reports unless it is something that you've been in for a while, you've got plenty of time, and you've already scaled out for profit. Maybe it's just some free runners or whatever the case left that you're willing to swing through the earnings report that, you know, is either going to A, really increase your profits, or B, maybe, you know, take a bite out of your profits, but certainly not going to, you know, put a hit into your overall account value. So, you know, that's kind of rule number one. Trading earnings reports, for everybody who's ever paid any attention to anything I've said about this, is probably one of the more risky, I will say, things that you could do with your money. You'd be better off just going and playing red and black at the roulette table. And the reason why I say that is because earnings reports are essentially like roulette, right? You can only pick, well, that's not true. If you're doing binary options, right? If you're just buying calls or puts, then essentially all that you have is red and black at the roulette table. But instead of there being 2 green squares on the roulette wheel, there are like 15 green squares on the roulette wheel. And the reason for that is because, well, and let's take a look at this though. What was 7.5%? Does anybody know what the implied move was for Uber? Was it smaller than 7%? If it was, then puts might make some money on this, but, and just to use Uber as a hypothetical example here, you know, let's say the implied move on Uber was 8%, right? So even if you took puts and you took them, let's just say close to the close there yesterday, you're like, okay, I'm going to buy these puts at the end of the day to trade Uber's earnings because I think it's going to, you know, make a big move down. And the implied move or the expected move is plus or minus 8%. So that means that essentially in your options contracts is an increased amount of volatility that you pay for that equates to about plus or minus 8%, right? So if the move, like we see on Uber right here, is less than 8%, well, all of that volatility, that what's called IV crush, happens on those contracts. So you could even be directionally correct, get a 7% move in your favor, but depending on what your strikes and expirations are on your contracts, you could still wind up essentially being like break even, maybe barely green, maybe a little bit red, plus or minus 6.5%. Okay, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. So in this case, puts will get paid. They'll get paid a little bit, not nearly as much as probably some put holders think they are going to get paid on this. Because again, you will still have that IV crush. So it's always going to wind up being a lower return, I think, than anybody expects, unless you get some massive, you know, if this was a 10 or 15% move to the downside, okay, yeah, those put contracts are going to print. They're going to do great no matter what. But anyway, the long story short, and I think the real lesson to take away from this trader boy is, yeah, they're going to get paid. I don't know how much they're going to get paid. Like if you bought, I would say if I was, and I don't do this, but I'd be looking at doing something like maybe like 70, if you did like 78 puts, 78 strike puts for like, you know, at least 6 to 8 weeks out, you probably are going to do pretty well on your returns. I'd say, you know, anybody that did like a 74, you know, put that's expiring next week, they're going to have a big percent return, but their actual dollar returns aren't going to be that great. Well, you know where my contracts would be. They would be on Kamala for sure. You know, I just kind of care about facts and data, and that's a big hang up for me. Yeah, don't go down that rabbit hole. Yeah, I agree 100%. We won't even go there. I don't want to, this platform's about trading, not about politics. I don't even want to go there. I let my personal input get in the mix there, and I shouldn't have done that. So anyway, we are getting close to 10 minutes out. Yeah, point being, trader boy, focus on trades that don't involve earnings reports, trade well outside and away from those earnings reports. So yeah, well, you know, listen, red, black, all that I'll say is those, you know, casinos, betting houses, all that stuff, they're in this to make money. right? So if it's heavily skewed one way or the other, I would say the side that it's heavily skewed toward is probably the side that's going to get cleaned out. But that's just my take on how the betting markets are involved this year. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So with that, we are 10 minutes out. Yeah. I mean, honestly, maybe I will. I don't even know how to put money on it, but that's certainly the direction I would put my money, Chris. 100%. So, all right, with that being said, we are 10 minutes out from market open. I do need to get to work on the daily SPY plan. For those who like to follow that, that will be in the options watch list here shortly. So with that, I want to thank everybody for oh, yeah, that's right, Chris. Thanks for mentioning that. Trader Boy, here's my offer. It's my standing offer to anybody thinking about buying options contracts for earnings reports. This offer's been on the table for years now. It's been a while since I've mentioned it, though. If you're thinking about buying options contracts for an earnings report, and let's say you were going to put like $200 into those options contracts, the deal I'll make with you is I will take, you can send your $200 to me, right? Actually, let's change that. Send me $100, right? I'll kick you in the nuts. You get to save half your money that you would have lost on the earnings report, and you get the same experience of trading options through earnings. So there you go. So I will have saved you money, and you still get to have the same physical sensation of trading through an earnings report. Yeah, gosh, thanks for bringing that up, Chris. It's been a while since I've reminded folks of that standing offer. All right, I really do need to go get to work on this daily SPY plan. I've had a good time with you guys this morning. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I hope you'll come back next Tuesday. That's going to be a very interesting day for us to have a live stream. That is election day. Make sure you go out there and vote, and also make sure that you guys have a blast trick-or-treating with your family, with your kids, do all that stuff. I'll be taking my nephews around this evening. So I hope everybody has a safe and happy Halloween. I hope you get a lot of treats, very little tricks. And as we always say here on the FOMO live stream, plan your trades and trade your plans. Go out there, get some green, keep your wins big, keep your losses small. You guys have a fantastic day. Thank you again. I will see you back here next Tuesday for our election day live stream. That'll be very interesting. Take care. Have a good one.